Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. Wagwan. Wagwan. Oh, man. I know I'm a little bit late today. I just got back from the pool. Yes, I am tan. I know, I'm looking very tan. Trust me, I know. Oh, look at that vein popping out. Yes, I've been lifting weights. Yes, I've been stretching. I know. Yes, I got this from the NBA Finals. Am I an aura merchant? All right. Today. Some stuff to talk about across the league. A few things, really. Nothing much. That wasn't a crazy Olympics game. You guys were watching that? Chat, I can't confirm Slightly can hoop. Me and B-Dot got some hooping in. Of course, the Mavs Twitter tournament, which is coming up, I think, 2 weeks from this upcoming Saturday. Guy who said your NBA comp was? I don't really have one. I honestly don't really have one. Play staying with Powell and the Celtics win. Okay. Here we go. B-Dot's a hooper. B-Dot can hoop. B-Dot's nice. B-Dot's better than me, for sure. You see what I do for you guys? I just got invited to Texas Roadhouse. You understand what it means to say no to that? All right. Mavs Twitter tournament. Featuring Mavs Reddit, slightly biased. Now, I got to be honest with you guys. TGK, you know I love you, brother. You know I got so much love for you. I got to be number one, right? I have to be top billing. That's just how it has to be. That's just how it has to be. I appreciate the kind words cited as being post fade. I tell you guys this all the time, and it's simple. I'm backing you down. I'm up faking. You're jumping. Boom. Selena Mavs top 2. Look, guys, I'm not trying to get political here on this stream. All right. Anyways, yes. So 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Holy shit. Lace them up, baby. That's 7 hours of basketball right there. 7 hours of basketball right there. Thoughts on Josh Green being out of the Australia rotation? He's been terrible in this tournament, man. Absolutely terrible. It's actually been sad. It's actually been sad to watch. To be completely and totally honest with you. Tell you what's wrong with Lego. Slightly, I hate Lego culture. So what's up with that? Or is that just? I'm really out on Twitter. Like, I have to be honest with you. Twitter has reached a point of no return. I think it's just really bad. It's really bad. It's not a very fun place to be at anymore. The For You page is completely and totally destroyed. Like, it was at one point where, or the Discover page, whatever they call it. It was at one point where it was like all basketball for me, but it has quickly turned to, it is now just straight right-wing brain drainage. And I'm not just saying like, oh, it's like Republican stuff. I'm saying it's legitimate right-wing conspiracy theories that completely take over my timeline. It's fucking terrible. It just is, and it's obvious that it's been ramped up. That's just all I'll say. It's obvious it's been ramped up. All right, a few crazy games today. Greece with a big win over Australia. Clicking on interested. Here's the thing, and it's not just that, dude. So whenever they first changed it to the Discover page, I'm not kidding. My Discover page, every 5 tweets would be a murder, like a literal murder, like a literal murder caught on camera. I would block the account. Not interested. Please stop showing this shit on my fucking timeline. And it took weeks of blocking all of these accounts to where I didn't really get that anymore. I go to Europe and I'm gone for 3 weeks or whatever it is, and I come back on. I go on my timeline, and that's all it is again. That's all it is again. Is literal murder. Like, holy shit. I block every account that even posts something like that. You're getting blocked. But anyways, Greece with a nice win over Australia. I think that they're out, though. This left Australia in a little bit of trouble. I believe the circumstances, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was if Spain beat Canada, then Greece would have advanced. But since Spain lost to Canada, Australia still advances. Greece needs Serbia to win. Oh, okay. All right. Australia is second since Canada won. Okay, all right. This was a great game, too. This was a great game. Spain fought until the end. A few crucial missed free throws down the stretch for Spain. But look at this. They had 17 offensive rebounds. I mean, they were absolutely dominating. Dominating on the offensive boards, especially late in the game. You guys know I got so much love for my guy Dwight Powell, but not a great rebounding team. Not a great rebounding team. But RJ Barrett, again, balls out. It's a huge dagger corner three to ice the game. Jamal Murray, I thought, 6 assists. I thought he looked rough again, though, to be honest with you. Don't really know what's going on there, but it's a little concerning. Shea had some huge buckets down the play. And Shea, I don't want to show any highlights. I'm not showing any highlights on here. But Shea is feeling it. Team Canada, Olympic Shea's a little bit different. NBA, he's very reserved. Very reserved. Doesn't usually talk shit. Doesn't usually, doesn't really talk shit. Doesn't usually showboat or anything like that. He's letting people hear it. He's letting people hear it in these Olympics. And I'm here for it. I love it. I am here for it. You think Powell's the greatest Dwight to ever play center? I can't tell what you think of RJ Barrett. I don't know what I think of RJ Barrett either. It fluctuates by the minute. Jamal Murray overrated. Shea is too great defensively not to finish his great defense without a rebound. Shea played really well defensively, though, in this game. Nembhard, 8 of 10 from the field, 6 of 7 from 2 of 3 from deep. He hit some big threes in this game. Is he going to get a little... Obviously, he had that insane postseason and then, some big moments here in the Olympics. They gave him that big contract extension. Is this going to be a big coming out party for Andrew Nembhard coming up this upcoming season? So anyways, an impressive win by Canada. And I like them. Their rebounding is going to be a problem, though. Their rebounding is going to be a problem. Santi Aldama didn't score or shoot well in this game, but I thought he played pretty well. Did a lot of other things. Zach should have went. I thought Edey was hurt, wasn't he? You think Nembhard's success hurts Mathurin? I think it puts Mathurin on the back burner for sure. Patty Mills has been struggling in this tournament. And he's a big reason why they go. Australia. He's been struggling. I know he's old, so Father Time has caught up, but these Olympics have really got me excited for the season. Me too, man. I caught myself last night really missing the NBA, and I had to remind myself we are months away. Like we aren't even in the dog days of the offseason just yet. We are not even in the dog days. The dog days is coming up. Do you think Clay can average 24 does? Red, I'm done answering your questions. What, you didn't want to watch the NFL game? All right, actually, that's a great question. That is a great question. Can somebody please, is there a tweet out there? Is there a tweet out there that has the NFL what the fuck is it called? Hall of Fame game ratings. Crazy how much longer an offseason is if you don't really make the playoffs. Yeah, I know. It is actually kind of insane how long we had to wait last year. Really makes you think. All I know is I'm about to hear a lot from Bears fans in my life. I mean, did anyone watch that football game last night? I mean, honest to God. Honest to God. This will be an important moment, I think, in the history of the National Football League. What they tell us their ratings are, because you guys know I think they lie. I do think they lie about the ratings, the TV ratings. I do 100% believe that they lie. This will be telling. If they try to convince us that a lot of people watched it, we know that they're full stop lying to you. Oh, XM's definitely better than Josh Green. 100%. Yes. Is that really that? Especially in this type of setting, but I would say last year, XM was definitely better than Josh Green. Just couldn't stay healthy and then collapsed in on himself like a dying star in the playoffs. Lauri Markkanen news. Evan Sidri, who I believe is just an aggregator. Does he actually report news? He just aggregates news, doesn't he? All signs are pointing towards Lauri Markkanen signing a new long-term contract with the Jazz next week. Utah agreeing with Markkanen on a renegotiable and extend will renegotiate and extend. Jesus will allow them to hit the required salary floor, which bumps his salary above $40 million this upcoming season. The Warriors also haven't been close to offering what it would take for Utah to offload their superstar. Now, I believe I was listening to some podcast. I forgot which one it was. They were talking about this, and there's a specific date that Markkanen has to sign by in order to be trade eligible this upcoming season. So that is something to keep in mind. Okay, what is this? I can't see because the fucking heart. August 6th. If he signs before or on August 6th, he can be traded at the deadline. All right, so that is something to keep in mind. 4 days from now. If he signs, I believe August 6th is the first day he can do it, right? Thoughts on the Moist Critical Sneeko situation? I don't know what that situation is. I know who Moist Critical is. I'm going to be real. I am online. I'm not that much online. I really don't know who Sneeko is. And I'm being dead honest. I don't know who that person is. I've heard him. I know he's not somebody that I would agree with nor appreciate really at any level at all as a human being. But I don't fully know who he is. And then Chris Haynes over here, some breaking Dallas Mavericks news, ladies and gentlemen. Some breaking Dallas Mavericks news. It's my turn now. Undrafted free agent center Jamarion Sharp, tallest player in college at 7'5", has reached an agreement on a one-year deal with the Dallas Mavericks. His agent, Scott Nichols of Rise Management, tells NBA on TNT, Bleacher Report, and Slightly Biased. So this is, I'm assuming, a two-way deal. All right. He's tall. He's lengthy. He did stand out to me a tiny bit at Summer League only because of his size and length. He did kind of look like a very raw player. So I'm not entirely sure what to expect out of him just in terms of what he can do as a basketball player. But, you know, whatever. Training camp only, most likely, yeah, probably. This will probably have, and actually, I won't say probably, I will say most certainly have zero impact on the Dallas Mavericks this upcoming season. So I hate to break the news. I hate to break the news. Hate to be the bearer of bad news there. Kessler Edwards is interesting. To be honest with you. I think Kessler Edwards is somebody who, an injury here or there could sneak into the rotation. The league, let's get this demon. Sorry, can we go into ranking the NBA team agency ranking? Yes. We can get into it. Thoughts on the Olympics? I've really enjoyed the Olympics so far. I've been watching it every single day. Throw on Gold Zone. It really is kind of the Gold Zone. It's a really good product, actually. Peacock, kudos. It's good. I like the fact that they have both NFL Red Zone guys on the stream, and they switch off. I mean, it's incredible. What's your favorite Olympic sport? Was surprised as to how much I enjoyed. Thoughts on the Olympic opening ceremony controversy. What was the fucking controversy? There was none. Go outside. Rugby. Was surprised as to how much I enjoyed rugby. I was watching some of the athletics. Now, the longer races aren't really for me, to be honest with you, but I do enjoy the athletics. I saw the Turkish shooting guy. That was absolutely hilarious. Been watching all the basketball, of course. 3v3 basketball. I don't know how I feel about it, to be completely honest with you. The rules are very strange. The short shot clock. It's I don't know how I fully feel about it just yet. I do like volleyball, both beach, the regular one as well. It's fun to watch. Those matches can get intense. BMX, surfing, I'm gonna be real. I did not like surfing. It felt like it was most of the time they had it on the screen. They were looking for a wave to surf. It was a little bit boring to me. Now that's just my opinion. Skateboarding was sick. Obviously, gymnastics is always peak. Table tennis, I'm out on table tennis, and let me sort of explain why. Doubles table tennis is fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. Just an absurd sport. Doubles table tennis is just obscene. No, I'm out. Absolutely not. Handball is good. Handball is good. I like handball. I've been watching handball. It gets thrown on. I was this morning watching Team USA shit all over themselves. And football, just a hilariously bad national team product that we put out there on a year-to-year basis. Tennis, I do like tennis. Badminton, Slovenia, I did see Slovenia is doing very well in handball, yes. And France is 0-3 in handball. So I've been following, man. I've been following. I know soccer is under 23s, but still. What are the ones? I'm out. I'm out on swimming. How many fucking swimming matches am I supposed to care about? How many swimming matches am I supposed to tune into? There's 15 a day. How have there been 15 a day since the start of it? It's changed my mind a little bit. It's changed my mind a little bit on some of the medals. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you have 25 different chances, you give LeBron 25 different chances. He's the greatest Olympian of all time. The greatest of all time. Netball, is that real? Track and field is always great. Gymnastics is always great. It's been great. I've had a lot of fun watching it. It's by far the most I've watched in Olympics. Archery, I tuned in a little bit. I really gained some appreciation. I saw a video on Twitter of somebody that was there, and you see just how far away they are. It is quite insane. So, who do you think is the better Olympian, Michael Phelps or Usain Bolt? Doesn't Bolt still have all the records? Have Phelps' records all been broken? There's that girl, the Canadian girl. What's her name? Summer. Somebody will fill me in. Summer McIntosh. She's the next Michael Phelps. She's won every single thing that I've watched. Funny how US media do total medal, or US media do total medal standings in their pros. US propaganda makes me laugh. Yeah, it should always be gold. It should always be gold. Now, to be fair, track and field is where USA will ramp it up a little bit. Now, Phelps still clears. I think he has so many medals. Yeah, because they have 25 swimming events a day. Could you hit bullseye on archery? Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. I think you can give me 1,000 tries, and I probably would not be able to do that. Shooting, give me 1,000 tries, I'll get one of them. I'm American. It's in my blood. I've never shot a gun, believe it or not. But I am still American. I'm still Texan, so I just have an attribute boost immediately. I'm like plus 15 to all my shooting stats just right out the gate. Didn't some Chinese athletes get caught with steroids? I'm pretty sure China, from what I saw, because somebody, a Chinese swimmer, set a record in this, at a world record in one of the 3,500 swimming events, and people were saying obviously that it was because of steroids because they're Chinese, and actually, that's what I thought is the most. I saw China is the most tested nation in the world when it comes to doping, and they get caught the least. So, how many times a day do you beat your meat to Labalco? No, not usually. All right, let's get into the off-season rankings now. I think it would be a little bit funny to go over my rankings from last year, because it does go to show we don't really know what we're talking about, or maybe at least I don't know what I'm talking about, and it's difficult to try and pinpoint who had good off seasons. But I'm not gonna lie, I looked at this last night and it was better than I thought it would be. There's one really bad one, and we'll get to it quickly. There's one really bad one. So I had the Sixers dead last. I don't think we're gonna do like 30-1 rankings today, but Sixers dead last. I feel like that's about right. And this, keep in mind, this was before the James Harden trade. The James Harden trade happened mid-season. So that's why I had the Sixers dead last. But another disappointing season for Philadelphia. They probably didn't do enough during the offseason to really position themselves to contend last year, and it bit them in the ass. Toronto, I had at 29. Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah, I had the Celtics at 28. Now, before you guys say anything, okay, this was before the Drew Holiday trade. All right. So, in my defense, this was before they traded for Drew Holiday. So, I feel like I get a pass. For that one. Pelicans, disappointing season. I mean, I guess. Bucks, and before the Dame Lillard trade, in my defense, before the Damian Lillard trade. Damn, when was the Damian Lillard trade? Denver Nuggets. They had a bad offseason last year. I saw through this. The young guys will pick us up. I saw right through that. And they were still really good, but it's adding up. The Heat had a terrible offseason last year. They didn't get Damian Lillard. The Bulls, I don't even really remember what they did. Oh, I love the Javon Carter signing. Is he even still in the league? Torrey Craig. The Clippers, obviously this was before they traded for James Harden. Now we're just... hey, look. Didn't buy into the Suns at all. Had the Suns at 20. Didn't buy into them. Look at this. Look at this fucking graphic. What the hell? Oh, my God. Everyone cleaned the throw up off their desk. Look at this graphic. My God. Hawks, Blazers, Magic, Thunder, Timberwolves. All right, yada, yada, yada. You guys get the point. Obviously, who did I have number one? Who do you think? Hey, look, I was really in on the Pacers. They made the Eastern Conference Finals. What do you think? I had the Mavericks at 3. Wait, no, I didn't. I had the Cavs at 3. Okay, then I had the Mavericks at 2. Wait, no, I had the Lakers at 2. Wait, what? And I did have the Mavericks at number 1. Wait, I had the Lakers at 2. Huh. I like the Gabe Vincent signing quite a bit. Oh, I love the Reeves extension. I thought was really, really good. Okay. But hey, look, I had the Mavs at #1, and look, they went on to make the NBA Finals. So this is just a hilarious slide right here. This is just a hilarious slide. This was before the Drew trade. Yes, this was before the Drew trade. We didn't know how important these two would be. All right. So this time we're changing it a little bit. We're going to do a tier list. And it's going to be a little bit more collaborative. I thought about making it before, but then I decided, you know what? Let's do it on stream while we're talking it out. While we're talking it out. 30 teams. I would say that the offseason is basically over. Markkanen will probably resign, and maybe they look to trade him at the trade deadline. But him getting moved would be surprising to me at this point. I guess Brandon Ingram's not getting traded. Help me out with the tiers here. We have what the fuck are they doing? Stuck in place, which I view as a bad thing. Some teams don't do anything and they don't really need to. We'll see. I feel like I need another tier. This is what the TBD is. I need another tier here. Maybe another tier like right here. Move the needle and won the offseason. No Man's Land. Retooled. I like Retooled. Quite a bit. But also Retooled, you know what? Retooled could go and move the needle, I think. I agree. 5 tiers might be good. This is what I had initially. All right. Nuggets in their own separate bottom tier. All right, we'll just go in order based off what they have right here. So we'll start with the Los Angeles Lakers, who didn't really do anything. They lost Spencer Dinwiddie to the Dallas Mavericks, obviously. They lost Taurean Prince, who wasn't very good for them. Their big additions this offseason were Bronny James and Dalton Knecht. They did re-sign LeBron, 2 years, $101 million. They did bring back Max Christie, 4 years, $32 million. That's not a bad deal. Obviously, you guys are saying stuck. I'm going to be real with you. And look, I want to say this right now. I want to say this right now. This is just what your team needed. Did you accomplish it? I'm not factoring in, oh, well, they tried, but this happened, or they couldn't really do it because this happened. It doesn't matter to me. These teams are getting better across the league. Did you do enough to improve your standing in the league? Whether it's, yes, we are rebuilding and we did something to improve our rebuild, or yes, we did something to improve our team. The Los Angeles Lakers are a team with a 39-year-old LeBron James, a 30-plus-year-old Anthony Davis. They have to be doing everything in their power to solidify themselves as contenders. Did they do that? No. Was it easy for them? Was there a lot of options for them? No, there weren't. I don't give a fuck. What the fuck are they doing? They had a terrible offseason. They had an absolutely awful offseason, in my opinion. Of course, it could have been worse. Like, LeBron could have just been like, hey, I'm going to Philly. Like, I'm going to Philly. I don't give a shit. I want to go there. Goodbye. And then he leaves for nothing. And then you're really just kind of stuck. But I'm sorry. They had an awful offseason. We heard all trade deadline long. Like, oh, The Lakers are gearing up. They're going to make a big push for Donovan Mitchell. They're going to make a big push for Trae Young. They'll make a push for DeJounte Murray. They got nothing. They did nothing. They got Bronny James, who's not an NBA player, and Dalton Knecht. Like, they're banking on Dalton Knecht. They're banking on guys like Gabe Vincent coming back and being healthy. Guys like Jared Vanderbilt coming back and being healthy. Yeah, not good enough. That's horrible. They went after Klay Thompson and missed him. They wanted to bring Spencer Dinwiddie back. They lost them, both to the Mavericks. Terrible offseason, in my opinion. Just awful. And again, it might not be their fault. I'll concede. It's probably not their fault. They tried. There just wasn't a lot of avenues. But guess what? It's not how it works. The Utah Jazz. So obviously, they haven't done really anything with Markkanen yet. Oh, and they did bring in JJ Redick as a coach. They did bring in JJ Redick as a coach. So we do have to factor that in. We'll factor in coaching changes. So JJ Redick in, Darvin Ham out, which should be better, but we don't really know yet. Let's see what the Jazz did. Not a lot. They lost Chris Dunn, who was pretty good for them. Went to the Clippers. They drafted Isaiah Collier, 29th overall. Cody Williams, 10th overall. Cody Williams had some moments in the summer league that looked pretty good. We'll see with the Markkanen trade. I mean, the Jazz are an interesting team. I feel like them doing nothing isn't the end of the world for them. Would I have liked to see them maybe see if they could get something in return for Colin Sexton? Yeah. Open up some of those minutes for some of your younger guards, maybe. But yeah, the Jazz don't need a good offseason yet. We'll put them in, we'll see. Because I've come to the conclusion I think they should trade Markkanen. I've came to that conclusion earlier this morning. That's where I'm at. Not necessarily right this second. Obviously, they can wait till the trade deadline or even next offseason if they want. But they don't have – Markkanen is not a 1A. He's just not. He's not a guy who's going to be the number one on a super serious contending team. And if you're looking at the landscape of the league and you're seeing guys like Mikal Bridges go for 5, 6 first-round picks, I think you just have to do it. You have to trade Markkanen. You have to get in while there's still teams out there that have all of these picks to trade and go for it and trade them and continue to build up that treasure trove of picks you have. Because Markkanen is a better player than Mikal Bridges. At least I think so. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get you what the Knicks or the Nets got from Mikal Bridges, but the Warriors package is horrendous. I would not do that at all. Spurs, I'm in. Thunder, obviously, is what I would want. Clippers. All right. So I must say, I thought some of the pieces they brought in are fine. Nick Batum, 2 years, $9 million. Okay, getting older, obviously. Chris Dunn, 3 years, $16 million. All right. Derek Jones Jr., 3 years, $30 million. Okay. Here's the reason why I'm putting them in what the fuck are they doing. Is they just conceded. They just conceded it. Why are you not bringing back Paul George? It makes no sense whatsoever to me. I still, for the life of me, cannot understand what they were thinking here. I get that, he's going to be older. Like, we don't want to pay him $40, $50 million, whatever it is, when he's 35, 36, 37 years old. All right, so what's the alternative? Guess what? You're done. You're done. Your team's championship window has slammed shut. You're not winning with Kawhi and James Harden as your 1 and 2 guys. You decided to pay James Harden 2 years, $70 million. You extended Kawhi Leonard. The moment you extended Kawhi Leonard, Paul George should have gotten an extension immediately. You're committed. The moment you extend Kawhi Leonard, you commit to what you have going on. That's that. You have committed. We are in on this core. We are extending Kawhi Leonard. We understand that he's hurt. We understand that he hasn't finished a fucking playoff series in God knows how long. But that's what we're doing. Wait. Don't tell me 2021 Mavericks was the last time Kawhi Leonard has finished a playoff series. Don't tell me that that's true. But it is, isn't it? Because 2022 they missed the play-in, or they missed the playoffs. 2023 he got hurt in the Sun series. 2024 he got hurt in the Mavs series. Holy shit. See, so you're extending him. If I'm Paul George, I'm saying, well, what the fuck? I want extended. Paul George had every right to be like, hey, I want my extension. I thought this was a package thing. So the Clippers, I mean, I remember the statement that they released the day that Paul George left, where they, in the statement, said, we traded a lot. Like, that's them basically saying, we fucked up. That is the nicest way of them saying, we fucked it up. And Paul George leaves for nothing. It's kind of like a bad luck situation for the Clippers in a league where free agency is all but dead. And there's pretty much no way a guy who wants $50 million is going to sign in free agency with a contender. The Philadelphia Sixers pop up and have cap space. And they also lose. They lose, Mason Plumlee, Daniel Tice, Russell Westbrook. They just are who they are. I thought they had a bad offseason, to be honest with you. And I don't know what their team looks like moving forward. I have no clue whatsoever. No clue whatsoever. Phoenix Suns. All right. The Phoenix Suns. Very limited in what they were able to do. They lose Drew Eubanks, terrible player. Eric Gordon, they lose him. Old. David Roddy, not very good. Traded him. They draft Ryan Dunn, 28th overall. Very big defensive upside. Monte Morris for a minimum. I like that. Mason Plumlee for a minimum. I like that. Tyus Jones for a minimum is a very, very good signing. Royce O'Neal, 4 years, $44 million. That's them signing a guy to trade him. Josh Okogie, 2 years, $16 million. Very tradable contract. I actually think that they did very well this offseason. I have to be honest with you. They're going in to move the needle. Now, it would have been much better if they addressed the center position somehow. But considering where they were operating from, they needed a point guard so bad. To get Tyus Jones on a minimum contract is insane. Absolutely insane. I think that they did pretty well. And I think they got better. They definitely got better. Defense is cooked. Yeah, their defense won't be good. If they were to somehow figure out a way to get off Nurkic and get like a better center, then it would be a little bit scary. But they're going to make life easier for their guys offensively. They're going to make life easier for their guys offensively. They didn't have a point guard at all last year. And now they have two pretty capable ones. Monte Morris is a completely fine backup point guard. Tyus Jones is very good. They should have done anything in their power to get Andre Drummond. I like what they did, honestly. They're going to rely. This isn't like me saying, yeah, they're going to make the Western Conference Finals. I don't know. They might be a playing team. But for where they were at, they fucked themselves last year. The Beal trade, boom, it's over for them. Going out and getting Nurkic, boom, it's over for them. They dug their grave then, in my opinion. But considering where they were operating from this offseason, they did a good job. Golden State's one of the more interesting ones. Everyone loves their offseason. I've noticed this, and I think they did pretty fine. Klay Thompson, they lose Chris Paul, who, you look at some of the numbers, Chris Paul is pretty important for them. Dario Saric, who I do kind of like. Kyle Anderson, 3 years, $27 million. Kyle Anderson's a good player. I think he'll fit into what Golden State has going on like a glove. Buddy Hield was not good last year. I get it. I get that the idea is like, oh, well, we can replace Klay Thompson shooting with Buddy Hield shooting at a fraction of the cost. Okay. Like, let's not forget that Klay Thompson averaged like 18 points a game last year. But all right. D'Anthony Melton, I do like that in theory. 1 year, $12 million, full mid-level, I believe. He's the only player who got that. 38 games last year with a back problem, which is a little bit scary. But I do kind of like that signing. I mean, where does this team end up? Like, do we think that the Warriors, who were a play-in tournament exit a season ago, do we think they improved enough to really be up there with the top dogs of the West? No. I don't know if they got... Splash Buddies is hilarious. Splash Buddies is very good. I think that they're stuck in place, to be honest with you. And I think that's just ultimately where they are from here on out. Not sure what else the Warriors could have done in the situation they are in. I mean, they could have brought back Klay. I get them not doing it. Could have maybe been a little aggressive on the trade market. There might not have been anything there. But like I said on the But how are they above the Lakers? Lakers are better. This isn't like a who's better ranking. This is who had a better offseason. The Warriors had a decent offseason. Like, I'm looking at their additions. Kyle Anderson's a good player. He fits into what they got going on. He's a smart player. That will fit. Buddy Hield can shoot. D'Anthony Melton's a very good basketball player. Like, that's a nice pickup for them if he's healthy. They were in on Paul George. Like, the Lakers had a shit offseason. They didn't do anything, and everyone around them is getting better. The Grizzlies, the Memphis Grizzlies. Just immediately, I'm thinking we'll see. Didn't really lose anybody. They traded away Zaire Williams, former 10th overall pick. Pulled the plug on that. Zach Edey, 9th overall, is their big addition. They did bring back Luke Kennard, 1 year, $11 million. Zach Edey is the betting favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Edey is somehow the favorite to win Rookie of the Year via Vegas. I don't think that's shocking, just because we have no idea who any of these how any of these rookies are going to shape out, what their roles are going to be on their team. Where you look at Zach Edey and the Grizzlies, like he should be a pretty big role, a pretty big piece in what they have going on. Like, if they want to be good, Zach Edey's going to be a pretty big part of it. We're like, yeah, Reed Shepherd dominated Summer League, but then you look at the Rockets roster and it's like, how much playing time and how much usage is Reed Shepherd actually going to have? I'm putting the Grizzlies in. I'm putting them in we'll see. I don't think the Grizzlies were ever going to be aggressive this offseason. They weren't aggressive. Zach Edey, 9th overall. A lot of draft people really love that fit. And I guess we'll see. Like, if Edey ends up winning Rookie of the Year and is good, then they're going to be very good next year. San Antonio. I love the Spurs offseason. Just in my brain right now thinking of it. Harrison Barnes, they bring in the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. They get involved. Bring in Harrison Barnes. Is Harrison Barnes great? No, obviously not. Oh, and I'm trying to remind myself that I want to do this. Phoenix Suns obviously bring in Mike Budenholzer as well. I do think the Spurs move the needle, and that's where I'm putting them. And I'll put them ahead of the Suns even. Harrison Barnes, you bring in just a vet presence in Harrison Barnes' forward position, something that you needed. Stephon Castle, 4th overall. Love that pickup for them. And then Chris Paul, 1 year, $10 million. They traded away Rob Dillingham, though, but we don't know if Rob Dillingham's going to be good. And I'll get to that when I get to the Timberwolves. I have my thoughts on it. Chris Paul, we were begging all season last year, please get somebody who knows how to fucking throw an entry pass. Please get somebody who knows how to throw a lob. Please get an adult in the building that knows how to run an offense so Victor Wembanyama can do Victor Wembanyama things. And they go out and get Chris Paul. How much does a 40-year-old Paul move the needle? I mean, it's not about moving the Spurs into contention. The Spurs aren't going to be contending. They're going to be bad again next year. It's about putting players around your second-year mega prospect to make sure he develops the best way that he could possibly develop. And putting one of the best floor generals in the history of the sport next to Victor Wembanyama helps them achieve that. That's really what it is. It's not, no, adding Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes doesn't make the Spurs a top 5 team. They're still going to be bad, but they're rebuilding in the right way. They're putting pieces around their young superstar and moving in a correct manner. They didn't go the Mavericks route where they panicked and said, holy shit, this kid's way better than we thought, and we're gonna be good sooner than we thought. Let's go get Kristaps Porzingis. Okay, we just fucked the next 4 years of our franchise basically because we're gonna have to be trying to claw our way out of this. They didn't do any of that. And Stephon Castle looked very promising in Summer League. So I'll put the Spurs here. I think they had a great one. The Mavericks. Should we wait for the Mavericks? Should we wait for the Mavericks or just pull this one out now? And to be fair, the Mavericks didn't really have the opportunity to wait because they did trade up to go and get Luka. So they couldn't really. Mavericks should be the finale. No, let's go for it. So Mavericks trade away Josh Green in the signing trade to get Klay Thompson, obviously. Josh Green's now in the Charlotte Hornets. Tim Hardaway Jr. traded in a salary dump to the Detroit Pistons, and immediately I have to give a round of applause for this trade because draft night happens. The Denver Nuggets have to attach 3 second-round picks just to get off Reggie Jackson, who was making $5 million. I saw that, and I immediately thought, guys, Tim Hardaway Jr. might not be getting traded. If this is the market to dump a $5 million player, I don't know how Tim Hardaway Jr. can get dumped. The Timberwolves had to attach Wendell Moore, or had to just basically give away Wendell Moore in a salary dump trade. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago. The Kings had to attach Davion Mitchell to Vesnikov to get him off in a salary dump trade. It was just... It was looking bleak. And yes, the Mavs attached 3 second-round picks to get off Tim Hardaway Jr., but they also get Quentin Grimes, who could very easily, and probably will, be a rotational player for the Mavericks this upcoming season. Obviously, they lose Derrick Jones Jr., which hurts because he was a starter for them and a very big piece of their NBA Finals team. But they replace him with Najee Marshall, 3 years, $27 million. They bring in Klay Thompson, 3 years, $50 million. It's crazy Klay Thompson's on the team. Crazy that Klay Thompson's on the team. I think that they had a great offseason. Honestly, I do. Now, you guys saw that last year I said I thought they won the offseason. I believe the year before that, I thought they had a great offseason, which is shocking. Like, that one is surprising because they lost Jalen Brunson, and I still thought they had a good offseason. That one was just peak delusion. Where do we put the Mavericks? Because, right, I'm not going to lie, I want to put them in one of the offseason. But then I think about it more. It is kind of a we'll see thing. It is kind of a we'll see type of thing. Because it is like, well, hopefully Clay's got to shoot around 40%. But you know what? Najee Marshall's got to be the one. He's going to be the one. He's going to be the one. He's going to be the one that does it, baby. Najee Marshall's going to be the one. Denver Nuggets. Well, let's not waste any time. What the fuck are they doing? I think they had the worst offseason in the NBA. And again, is it really their fault? Not necessarily, but it's goes back to what I was saying with the Lakers. Everyone around you is getting better, and you are progressively getting worse in an alarming fashion. KCP, you lose him for nothing. Very, very, very crucial part for your team. I would say much more important than what Bruce Brown was for you. You draft Aaron Holmes. I like that pick. It makes a lot of sense. He tears his Achilles. Was it an ACL or an Achilles? Either way, he's out for the year. That's not your fault, but you do have to factor this shit in to the equation. You bring in Dario Saric, which, hey, I actually like that. That's a really good pickup, in my opinion. Dario Saric is kind of like a very perfect backup big for you. Like, he does not what Jokic does, but he's a good playmaker. Like, you can do similar stuff. Russell Westbrook, it's interesting to me. I'm intrigued by it. But everyone around you is getting better. These young teams, these young up-and-coming teams like the Thunder and the Timberwolves, they're here. They're ready to go. The Grizzlies are going to be back. We know the Mavericks are here and ready to go. The Phoenix Suns are still going to be good. The Lakers will be in the equation. The Warriors will be in the equation. You still have teams like the Pelicans who made moves this offseason. And now the Nuggets, who are 2 years removed now from a NBA championship, they lost 2 huge rotational pieces and haven't replaced them with anything. But slightly, we have Zeke Naji on a $40 million contract. I like bringing Chanchar back. Conchar, not Chanchar. Or is it Chanchar? Which one's pronounced which way? The Slovenian one is Chanchar, right? I don't know. It's a bad offseason for them. It just is. It just is a bad offseason for them. There's not much else they could have done. And then I don't know how far it got, but KCP was interested in the Mavericks, and the Nuggets didn't want to do a sign and trade because they didn't want to help out the Mavericks. Well, you lost him for nothing. You lost him for nothing. And Jamal Murray was hurt at the end of the season. You could tell in the playoffs, just didn't look himself, especially in that series against the Timberwolves. He's looked horrible in the Olympics. Is that not a little bit concerning? I think the Nuggets, you have to be concerned. You have to be concerned if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. And with their contracts and stuff, like, they didn't have a lot of options. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, they trade Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. I like that trade for them. I think the Bulls did better in that trade than people would care to admit. But still, a good trade for the Thunder. Gordon Hayward retires. Wow, what does that say about the Thunder, huh? What does that say about the Thunder? Gordon Hayward gets traded to the Thunder and immediately retires months later. They draft Nikola Topic, 12th overall. That's interesting. I think that's interesting. Dylan Jones, 26th overall, just screams Oklahoma City Thunder player. AJ Mitchell, 38th overall. They re-sign Isaiah Joe, 4 years, $48 million. Good contract. Aaron Wiggins, 5 years, $45 million. Really good contract. And then the big signing, Isaiah Hartenstein, 3 years, $87 million. Yeah, they had the best offseason in the NBA. I mean, They had the best offseason in the NBA. They got better without getting worse. I guess maybe you can make an argument that it feels like you sold kind of low on Josh Giddey. Remember, there was a time last year when he was the centerpiece of like superstar trades. You kind of sold low on him, but Caruso is still a great player, a top 70 player in the NBA, one of the best defenders in the NBA. And Hartenstein, yeah, you paid him a lot of money, nearly $30 million a year, but there's a team option at the end of it. You have money to spend. You don't really have to worry about that just yet. And I love that fit. Hartenstein, I predicted it. It made the most sense in the world. And your two extensions were really good, by the way. Joe at 4 years, $48 million, and Wiggins 5 years, $45 million. Both very good and easily tradable contracts as well. So I love it. I think that they did great. So I feel like OKC still kind of sucks. What do you mean kind of sucks? They were the 1 seed last year. They were the 1 seed. They got better without getting worse. Like, let's talk about the Mavericks. Made the NBA Finals. We think they got better. But they traded off in certain areas where, I don't know, maybe they didn't get better. The Thunder improved their roster without trading off anywhere. They didn't trade off anywhere. I would put us in we'll see. Yeah, well, we're not doing that. We're not doing that here. The New Orleans Pelicans. What an interesting offseason they had. What an interesting offseason they had. Surely it cannot be over. Traded off in playmaking. Yeah, but when push came to shove, and if you're the Thunder right now, you're thinking in terms of a 16-game season. You've reached that point. You're good. You're going to make the NBA playoffs. How can we maximize the roster to win in the postseason? That's where you're at now. Giddey was not the answer. Giddey was not the answer. He was unplayable. He was not the answer. Did not fit there at all. So the Pelicans did get DeJounte Murray, which answered a big need of theirs. They desperately needed some playmaking and an actual guy who can play point guard. Now, whether or not you think that's DeJounte Murray is open for interpretation, but he's better than what they had. They did have to give up Dyson Daniels, who has shown some real flashes in the Olympics. I mean, he's going to be a good player. But that's the price to pay. He was kind of blocked in New Orleans anyways. Also, Larry Nance, who was an important player for them. Cody Zeller, yeah. Jonas Valanciunas leaves and goes to the Wizards. Najee Marshall leaves and goes to Dallas. They bring in Trey Jemison. They claim him off waivers. They draft Yves Missi. Just we'll be mispronouncing that for the next couple months. 21st overall in the draft, who I'm assuming, as it stands right now, is their starting center. You know, it's really funny to me, and we'll get to this in a second. All pre-draft process long, all pre-draft process long. Yeah, this draft sucks. This is a terrible draft, blah, blah, blah. Any team that drafted a player in this, what most people are calling one of the worst drafts in history, any team who drafted a player and isn't immediately relying on a player in this draft to help them thinks that they're going to get a good player and an immediate contributor. They're hinting at Zion playing center. That sounds like a fucking disaster to me. Zion doesn't rebound. Zion is injury prone. The chances that works out are next to zero. Next to zero. Miss he. Okay. Pelicans feel like a fantasy basketball team with no chemistry. Yeah, that is kind of what they feel like. I do like the DeJounte move. Now, if the next move is Brandon Ingram gets traded somewhere in like a real legitimate center, I don't even know what that trade looks like or what's even available out there. The Jared Allen trade, like, kind of made some sense to me, but then I thought about it. I'm like, I don't think the Cavs do that. Jakob Poeltl, but I mean, really, Poeltl's what you're getting back for Brandon Ingram? Walker Kessler, maybe. We'll see. I do like the DeJounte move for them. So they're in we'll see for me. I'll put them ahead of the Grizz. Actually, I don't know. I'll put them right here. Glazing the Pelicans. Well, they really needed a point guard and like a lead guard. They really needed that, and they got it. Yves Miss, his full name. Okay. Yves Miss. Watch them trade for Vucevic. Oh, that would be disgusting. That would be absolutely disgusting. There's a lot of question marks about them. The Sacramento Kings. What did our Kings do? Went out and got DeMar DeRozan, 3 years, $74 million. Yves Missy. And I don't love the fit. I just don't. I don't, but to be completely and totally fair, I don't know if I love the DeMar fit anywhere. It's just weird. He doesn't space the floor, really. Franz yammed on Wemby. Fuck. I forgot that was going on right now. DeMar's just a strange fit. I love the Devin Carter pick at 13th. I think he's going to be really good. And he's kind of your Davion Mitchell replacement in some ways, who you traded. You don't really lose much this offseason. Harrison Barnes, part of the DeMar DeRozan trade, so you're replacing Harrison Barnes with DeMar DeRozan. That's a clear and obvious upgrade. Chris Duarte, not good. Kessler Edwards, not really a piece for you. JaVale McGee, Davion Mitchell, never really panned out. Vesnikov, whatever. I think it's a pretty good offseason. I think they're going in the we'll see for me. Like, I like it. I love the Malik Monk extension. That's a huge win. I would put that probably in the top 3 moves of the offseason overall. Because I thought for sure he was gone. And not only is he back, but under $20 million a year is shockingly good. I mean, that's an incredible contract. And it's not like they broke the bank necessarily for DeMar. 3 years, $74 million. Playing off of Sabonis with DeMar is just weird to me. It's weird in my brain. You guys think move the needle? It has to be move the needle. The Kings are undoubtedly better with DeMar, with DeRozan than Harrison Barnes. I mean, that is true. That's true. Because, all right, I'm looking at it, and I definitely think they had a better offseason than these 3. Okay, yeah. I don't mind that. And like I said, the Malik Monk extension is one of the best moves of the offseason, bar none. And they did get better. And it's not like they gave up. It's not like they gave up a ton to bring in DeMar. And like I said, I like the Devin Carter pick. I think he's a little bit more versatile and on paper at least than Davion Mitchell, who I had high hopes for in the NBA, but it just doesn't look like it's going to pan out. Kings are falling in reverse. No, I mean, you look at it, they replace Harrison Barnes with DeMar DeRozan. That's a clear and obvious upgrade. A clear and obvious upgrade. Devin Carter making an impact in his first year. I mean, probably, off the bench as like an 8th or 9th guy, maybe. They are committing just fully to offense. Houston really didn't do much. I mean, they drafted Reed Sheppard, 3rd overall. They traded for A.J. Griffin, which I kind of like. Reggie Bullock, they lost, but whatever. I mean, what the fuck? Where do you even put them? They really didn't do anything. The Reed Sheppard pick looks already pretty good. I think stuck in place to me is a negative thing. So I can't say they had a negative offseason unless you think that they have too many guys and they should have made a consolidation move. Like they should have made a significant upgrade somewhere by sort of freeing up some of this young player logjam that they have. Oh, Devin Carter out back in January. I'm not going to lie. A lot of stuff has happened, and there were certain moves, like, for example, Saddiq Bey going to the Wizards. I didn't even know that happened until last night. I don't know how that slipped through the cracks for me. I did not even know that happened until I was putting this together last night. I feel like Reed Sheppard's a sleeper Rookie of the Year candidate. I just don't know how, like, in order to win Rookie of the Year, you have to have opportunity to put up stats. And I don't know if Reed Sheppard's going to have a lot of that. Oh, man. You believe the rumors Houston wanting to trade Şengün or Jalen Green to be true? I don't believe the Şengün ones. Jalen Green, sure, yeah. I believe that, I think. This one's tough. I don't really know what to do with it. Second place to me is, I view it kind of negatively. They didn't do enough to make a move. It wasn't terrible. We'll see. I mean, do we just put them in we'll see because Reed Sheppard looks like a really, really good pick? Okay. All right. Minnesota. So somebody explain to me why Minnesota had a good offseason. Like I'm a 2-year-old. Because I've seen it. And I get they moved up and they traded for Rob Dillingham. Cool. I do think the Dillingham trade is very overrated. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Kyle Anderson was a big rotational piece for them. They bring in Joe Ingles. I kind of like that. Jingling Joe. They also draft Terrence Shannon Jr. They aren't going to finish top 4. Ant Leap Copium. Wolves lost Kyle and got Jingles. It's just we'll see. I'm kind of leaning here. They didn't have much room to be better. And that is true. That is true. The Timberwolves are a tough one. They didn't have much room to get better. They did lose like a pretty important rotational piece in Kyle Anderson, who in the playoffs became unplayable, to be fair. We'll put them in. We'll see. We can go back and change things. 76ers, where do we put them? I do like their offseason. They did a great job. Won the offseason. All right. Andre Drummond, 2 years, $10 million. Paul George, 4 years, $212 million. Eric Gordon, 2 years, $6 million. Reggie Jackson, 1 year, $3 million. Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, to me. If one of those guys works out in any way, okay, cool. Caleb Martin, 4 year, $35 million. That's a really good signing. I like that one quite a bit. Jared McCain, 16th overall. All right, we'll see. Tyrese Maxey, 5 years, $204 million extension. Obviously. Kelly Oubre, back 2 years, $16 million. That's good. Like that. Bring back Kyle Lowry. Bring back KJ Martin. Lose Tobias Harris. Lose Buddy Hield. Lose DeAnthony Melton. Lose Campaign. Lose Paul Reed. Lose Nick Batum. I cannot put them in win the offseason. Why? I don't think they had a better offseason than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Did they have a better offseason than the Mavericks? Yeah, probably. Am I putting them over them? No. They're moved the needle for me. And I'll put them at the top of it. They did good. I mean, this could have ended so disastrously for them. If they don't have if Paul George doesn't sign with them, then it's an absolute disaster offseason for them. But they do bring in Paul George, and that does raise their ceiling significantly. Let's just move the Mavs down. I mean, let's just move the Mavs down, okay? But there's a lot of risk in what they did this offseason in some ways. But you had to do it, though. You absolutely had to do it. You're all in on this Embiid window, which let's not forget, Embiid is 30. So this Embiid window might be 2 or 3 more years. So they absolutely have to capitalize on it now. And Paul George, yes, paying him $50, $60 million 3 or 4 years from now is probably going to fucking suck because he's 34 years old and he's never healthy at all anymore right now. But you don't really have another choice. And we always know Daryl Morey's going to go for it. Your team is old, but that's your window. That's your window. So I can't say they had a better offseason than the Thunder. Because, again, I thought the Thunder were a team that got better and addressed their areas of weakness without giving up much of anything at all. And, like, there's next to no risk in anything the Thunder did. There's risk in what the Sixers did. Is this slightly biased or slightly fair? Move Mavs back up, please. Well, no, this is still slightly biased because I'm telling you right now, in my slightly fair brain, the Mavs are down here. Okay? So we're still slightly biased. The Milwaukee Bucks lose Malik Beasley. That's fine. Patrick Beverly in Tel Aviv. Goodbye. Jay Crowder. Goodbye. I saw the Franz poster. AJ Johnson, 23rd overall. Don't love that pick. Taurean Prince, 1 year, $3 million. Okay. All right. Tyler Smith, 33rd overall. Here's really where the Bucks did their work. DeLon Wright, 1 year, $3 million. Love that for them. And Gary Trent on the minimum. That's fantastic value right there. That is fantastic value. We might need another tier. Are we not going to get another stuck-in-place team? I'm sure we will. Oh, man. Sometimes, guys, I know this is a Mavs-centric channel, but sometimes it's just... I don't think DeLon is good. There's a reason he can't stick on any team. it's like this. There's a reason he can't stick on any team, but yet he's been around the league so much and teams still want him. The best three-point shot creator with one of the best shooters and pushes or upgrades elsewhere on a team that made the finals, but Hartenstein, who was a no-name like a year and a half ago, is transformative. Yeah, because Hartenstein's not a no-name anymore. Hartenstein wasn't a no-name a year and a half ago. Trust me, I dropped a video on him like 2 or 3 years ago. All right, holy fuck. If I put the Mavericks right here, will you guys stop fucking crying? There you go. All right, Milwaukee, I think they moved the needle. I think they had a good offseason for what they were able to do. Do I put them ahead of the Kings or behind the Kings? Bucks are stuck in place? No. I do think they got better. Behind the Kings? What did the Bucks do? Dude, getting Gary Trent Jr. on a minimum is huge. I mean, he's replacing Malik Beasley in your rotation. Hold on, somebody just knocked at my door. Don't they know I have a multi-trillion-dollar streaming setup going on right now? Slightly mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I do these things because they're what I do them a lot for me because they're fun to look back on. Can you do the Charlie XCX Apple dance for us? I'm ashamed to admit I know that dance. I do these because it's fun to look back on at the end of the season. And you guys are freaking out because I had the Mavericks as the third best offseason in all of basketball. The third best. None of these other teams were going to top it. The third best. I think the apple's rotten right to the core. I don't know the next part. All right, so we're settling on move the needle for the Bucks. And let me explain. I feel like you guys, some of you guys aren't fully, maybe you guys just tuned in. We are factoring in what was available to these teams. So, for example, yes, I get the Lakers. There weren't a lot of avenues to improve their roster, really, and they didn't improve their roster. There were not a lot of avenues for the Suns or Bucks to improve their roster, yet I thought they did. Yet they did. Yet they improved their roster. Thoughts on the Billie Eilish collab? I haven't listened to it yet, but I will. Dude, Jerwin, everything's going to be all right, brother. Hey, Jerwin. Everything's going to be all right, brother, all right? No need to have a meltdown here. Okay. It's a beautiful life, a beautiful world that we live in. You just got to look for the beauty. The beauty's always there. The beauty always exists. You might think me not having Mavericks has won the offseason is a low point, but the low points are what make the high points so much more beautiful. You have to process that, folks. If you're factoring in what was available, the Timberwolves did more with absolutely nothing available. I'm not sure the Wolves improved their roster. I am pretty sure the Bucks and the Suns improved their roster. I'm not sure the Wolves did. Rob Dillingham, 9th overall pick in what is widely considered a horrible draft class. He's so incredibly small. I like him. He's flashy. He's got some great moves. Very crafty player. He's also the brand of player that doesn't work out a lot. So that's why I put him in. We'll see. All right, Celtics. Celtics are a difficult one to grade. They draft Baylor Showerman 30th, and really just brought everyone back. Sam Hauser, 4 years, $45 million. That's a good contract. They bring back Luke Cornett, Jason Tatum, 5-year max. Save the jokes. Xavier Tillman, 1-year minimum. Derek White, 4 years, $120 million. Move the knee. I mean, it's a good offseason for them. It's a good, I actually think that's a great offseason for them. But, where do you put them? Celtics tier? They kind of do deserve their own tier, huh? Let's put the Celtics at the end. We'll think about it in a second. Pacers. I like the Pacers offseason quite a bit. I like what they did quite a bit. Now, they didn't make too many moves to bring in guys. But obviously, they made their big move at the trade deadline and going out and getting Pascal Siakam. They draft Johnny Furphy, 25th overall. Tristan Newton, 49th overall. They bring in James Wiseman as just kind of a, dart throw. They lose Jalen Smith. But their big offseason moves were signing Pascal Siakam, 4 years, $189 million. They re-signed Obi Toppin, 4 years, $58 million. Andrew Nembhard, 3 years, $58 million extension, which is really good value. I agree. I think they had a great offseason. I really do. I think they go and move the needle. And I'd kind of put them comfortably right here. I think they had one of the best off seasons in the NBA. You have to factor in the Siakam piece. It's similar to Kyrie last year. When Kyrie re-signed, we all celebrated it and said that it was a great signing. Benedict Mathurin, yes, we'll be back. A great signing. It was one of the reasons why we all thought the Mavs had one of the best off seasons in the NBA last year. Same thing with this Pacers team with Siakam. But why is Germany so good at Olympic basketball? They don't have a ton of talent. I mean, they do have a good amount of NBA talent. The Mavs got better in every position. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking to me? Germany's good because they have a real coach and real system. The teams have been building for several years. Yeah, they played together for so long. Like, I mean, comparatively speaking to other non-USA countries, they have really solid. They have really solid NBA talent, and Schroeder is a dog. France has been disappointing. All right. Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Brooklyn. Brooklyn, we go hard. So Brooklyn made one of the biggest moves of the offseason, trading away Mikal Bridges. In return, they get 4 unprotected firsts, an unprotected pick swap, and a top 4 protected 2025 Bucks pick. They also trade for Zaire Williams. I like that for them. They also made a big trade with the Houston Rockets to get their picks back in return so that they could tank this upcoming season, which is very important for them, obviously. They re-signed Nick Claxton at 4 years, $97 million. They had an incredible offseason, I thought. They did exactly what they needed to do. The return they got from Mikal Bridges is just absurd. No tank tier? No, because here's the reason. I would put the Nets in the move the needle tier. They move the needle on their rebuild. It's better than we'll see, in my opinion. We'll see since now they have to draft well. That's true. That's a good way of looking at it. Because it could all be for naught. They could draft terribly or none of these picks end up being good. They did what they needed to do. And it does kind of feel like you're rewarding them for all of the fuck-ups they've made by rectifying those fuck-ups. Who is the best flag destination? Somewhere East Coast. Somewhere in the Eastern Conference, please. Somewhere in the Eastern Conference. Please. Not Utah, not San Antonio, not OKC. Brooklyn, Detroit, Washington, Charlotte, any of those. Brooklyn kind of feels like if I were rigging it, Brooklyn, let's New York basketball, let's keep Brooklyn a little bit relevant. Detroit, though, if you were rigging it, Detroit. I put Brooklyn in second place. Still need to trade Cam and Dodo. So somebody made a good point. Do you put Brooklyn and we'll see because they still have to trade. They still have to nail these picks, but they did a great job, though. I mean, that return from Mikal Bridges is fucking insane. I think they're move the needle. Where do you put them and move the needle, though? They move the needle on their rebuild. I don't know. We'll come back to them, too. I'm stuck on them. Cleveland, I thought, had a really good offseason. Not a lot of bad offseasons out there. They draft Jalen Tyson, 20th overall. Donovan Mitchell, 3 years, $150 million. Evan Mobley, 5 years, $224 million. Jared Allen, 3 years, $91 million. What do you think about Maxi for Dodo? Sure. It's still the same mid team. They're not mid, though. They're good. They're a good team. The extensions were big. I think we need a new tier. We're going to make a new tier and put the Cavs in it with the Celtics. The kind of bring your guys back. The Jared Allen contract's good, yeah. Atlanta. Okay. Sadiq Bey gone. Again, I found out about that last night. For some reason, that completely slipped through the cracks. They trade away A.J. Griffin. They trade DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. In return, get Dyson Daniels. And picks. Did they get picks in that trade? No, not DeJounte Murray height. Did they get a pick in that trade? 2 first-round picks. Okay. Zachary Reese-Shea first overall. And to be fair, weak-ass draft class. Is it their fault that this draft class was that poor? No. They still have Clint Capella. They still have DeAndre Hunter. They still have Bogdan. Obviously, I don't think they want to trade Trae Young, but all of those 3 probably should have been gone. They're stuck in place for me. They're stuck in place. How many games do you think Atlanta's winning? Not probably in the 30s or 40s, which is a bad place to be at. Which is a very bad place to be at. Yeah, they don't really have their picks. Like, they want to win, but their team is nowhere near good enough to win. Like, I don't like what they did at all. The reason why I'm not going to put them in what the fuck are they doing? Again, they had the first overall pick, Reese-Shea. All right. I mean, traditionally not the type of first overall pick you would want, but it's just a weak draft class, not really in their control. But also, the DeJounte trade, when it first happened, I was like, how the hell do you not get Brandon Ingram in that trade? But I guess Brandon Ingram's value's in the toilet. Dyson Daniels is a pretty good young player to get in return, and they do get 2 firsts. But that's true. We actually don't know what they're doing. But I don't think they're going to trade Trae. Clint Capella probably should have been traded by this point, but maybe there's not a lot in return. The Knicks. So most people would put the Knicks and win the offseason. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put them and move the needle, though. Let me explain why. I mentioned why I think that the Thunder won the offseason is they got much better without giving up anything really in return. They lose Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey was out of the playoff rotation for them. The Knicks, they go out and get Mikal Bridges. Good get. I mean, they gave up an arm and a fucking leg. They lose Isaiah Hartenstein. That's huge. I mean, Mitchell Robinson's going to be so important for them. They bring back Precious Achiuwa, which is now a very important player for them, and Precious was pretty good for the Knicks, but Precious throughout his career has not been a very good player. 1 year, $6 million. They pay OG Anunoby over $40 million a year. That's a lot of fucking money. They do win big time with the Jalen Brunson extension. He takes a huge pay cut. So they definitely got better. But there's some risk there involved. So I think the Knicks are in one offseason tier. See, because I think the Sixers probably did better than them. Like, I would have the Sixers ahead of them. I'll put them ahead of the Pacers, but this is where I'm putting the Knicks right now. 4th. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The Hartenstein stuff is scary, dude. I mean, everyone convinces themselves you don't need a big. We've seen this all the time. Us Mavs fans have done it. Everyone convinces themselves that we don't need a big. We don't need a center. We'll figure it out. Guess what's really fucking hard to do? Guess what's actually a really hard thing to do? Getting a quality center is a very difficult thing to do in the NBA. Trust us. Orlando Magic. Thought they had a great offseason. They lose Joe Ingles. Markelle Fultz is gone. KCP, 3 years, $66 million. Tristan Da Silva, 18th overall pick. Looked really good in Summer League. And listen to all the guys that they bring back. Goga, 3 years, $25 million. I feel like that's pretty good. Gary Harris, 2 years, $14 million. Okay. Jonathan Isaac, 5 years, $84 million with a bunch of options and stipulations in there. That's good. That's a good contract. Franz Wagner, 5 years, $224 million. Franz Wagner's got his swagger back. I'm a Franz fanatic. 5 years, $224 million. Well worth it. Mo Wagner, 2 years, $22 million. Sneaky, really good contract, actually, for the value Mo Wagner provides. They had a great offseason. Boom. Top 5 offseason. I think there's, I feel like this is fair, actually. I'm not going to lie. My gut kind of wants me to move the Kings down. I'm really not sold. I'm going back and forth because, yes, on paper, DeMar DeRozan, obviously a much better player than Harrison Barnes. The Malik Monk extension is just beautiful. Well done. But I really question the DeMar fit. Like, your big signature move of the offseason, I really, really question the fit. But I am going to drop them down to we'll see. Just kind of spread it out a little tiny bit. The Charlotte Hornets. What did they do? Miles Bridges, 3 years, $75 million. Okay. Don't really lose anything. Bring in Taj Gibson for a coach-like presence. They bring in Josh Green and the Clay sign and trade. I like that for them. They draft Salon 6 overall. I mean, didn't really do much, but also they're not really going to do much of anything. I think another tier would make more sense. We are going to have another tier. We are going to add another tier because the Celtics and Cavs didn't do anything, but it's totally fine that they didn't do anything. And I think those teams deserve their own tier because there's a difference between not doing anything like the Lakers when you really needed to do something. Stand pat. I mean, it's kind of what the Hornets did. Like, I don't really know what to do with the Hornets. Let's move the Hornets down. Miami Heat. I feel like it's a bad offseason. For the Miami Heat. They lose Caleb Martin, rotational piece. They lose DeLon Wright. They bring in Alec Burks. Pele Larson, 44th. Khalil Ware looked really good in Summer League, 15th overall pick, obviously. It's a little bit alarming, to be honest with you, to really rely on a 15th overall pick like that. It could pay off, but you never really know. Bam Adebayo, 3 years, $166 million. Extension, well-deserved. Haywood Highsmith, 2 year, $10 million. That's a pretty good extension. Kevin Love, 2 year, $8 million. I think that they're in the stuck-in-place tier because I do like Khalil Ware quite a bit, and he looked good enough in Summer League that I'll give them a slight edge over the Lakers, who, again, as I mentioned earlier, LeBron and AD, you can't just be Jared Vanderbilt getting healthy cannot just be your fucking go-to. That's disgusting. The Jimmy stuff is definitely a little bit weird. I'll put them right here. Like, they didn't have a good offseason. Portland. All right. Deni Avdija is pretty much it for Portland, right? Half the league can't be we'll see or better. Yeah, I mean, they can, though. Not half the league is going to have a bad offseason. Klingon, they drafted Donovan Klingon, obviously. I think they had a pretty good offseason, to be honest with you. I like the Deni Avdija trade quite a bit. I like the Klingon pickup. Portland did better than stuck in place, though. Good offseason, but stuck in place due to conference strength. Yeah, but we're not really looking at it like that, though. Like, we're just looking at the moves that they made in relation to where they're at as a team. I mean, they're not trying to contend right now, so they go out and get a young wing and Denny Avdia, who I just think is a really good player. Playing as an interesting draft pick. I think we'll see is fair for them. I think we'll see is fair. I think they're high in the we'll see tier, though. Chicago Bulls, to me, immediately scream stuck in place. I know that they made some pretty good moves, like, you know, Bazulis looked good in Summer League. That's kind of exciting for them. 11th overall pick. Josh Giddey, getting him in a trade. Give him the ball, give him the keys a little bit. That's a little bit interesting. You bring in Jalen Smith, 3 years, $27 million. You bring back Patrick Williams, 5 years, $90 million. But you still have Zach LaVine. You still have Vucevic. Your return for DeMar DeRozan was bad, to say the least. You probably should have gotten a pick in the Caruso trade. Like, I just feel if you're trading with the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's just the Thunder tax. We got to get a pick out of you, dude. Like, we have to get a pick. Like, if we're doing business with the Oklahoma City Thunder, we have to be leaving with a first-round pick. They are stuck in place, in my honest opinion. But I do, you know, Giddey's interesting to me. Bazulis, I wasn't really a big fan of him in the stuff I saw in the lead-up to the draft, but looked good in Summer League. He's got some dog in him. All right, the team needs some dog. The Raptors, they lose Gary Trent Jr., Jalen McDaniels, Jordan Nora. They draft Jacoby Walter, 19th overall. They trade for Davion Mitchell. Of course, their real big moves were signing Scotty Barnes to a 5-year rookie max, $225 million. Emmanuel Quickley, 5 years, $162 million. They made their big moves during the season, obviously trading Siakam, trading OG. They're kind of a tough one to put as well because I don't think they necessarily had a bad offseason, but well, I mean, what else were they realistically going to do? Stuck in place? Probably. I mean, probably. Probably. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but Washington. Tyus Jones leaves for nothing. Tyus Jones leaves for nothing. They trade away Denny Avdia. I don't really understand why they felt the need to do that right now, but they did get 2 first-round picks. Malcolm Brogdon, who maybe they can flip down the line. They bring in Sadiq Bey, 3 years, $19 million. Okay. Jonas Valanciunas, 3 years, $30 million. That just screams somebody's getting traded. Rashawn Holmes' contract as well screams somebody's getting traded. Had the 2nd overall pick, drafted Alex Sarr, whose summer league performance was absolutely, unequivocally concerning. Let's just call it what it is. Sarr's performance in the summer league was scary stuff if you are a Washington Wizards fan. Now, what's not that scary? Bub Carrington, 14th overall, looked really, really good. So you do have that going for you in the summer league at least. And Sarr did look decent defensively. Where do they end up? Oh, man. I mean, they're another one of these teams where they're not trying to be good, so you can't look at their moves through that lens. It's just, here's my point. Was the Sarr Summer League performance bad enough that we put them in what the fuck are they doing? Or we just put stuck in place? I don't know what I'm feeling here. This one's a little bit tough for me. It was that bad? All right. If that wasn't bad enough, I don't know what is. All right, that's fair. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking, and that's, hey, that's the game. That's the game. That might not be fair, but this actually doesn't feel fair. I'm moving them up to stuck in place. What the fuck are they doing tier for me is like teams that are trying to be good or should be doing more to be better that aren't. Detroit basketball. Detroit, they lose Troy Brown Jr., whatever. Evan Fournier, goodbye. Taj Gibson, didn't even know he was on the team. Quentin Grimes, we'll talk about that trade more in a bit. James Wiseman, whatever. They bring in Malik Beasley, 1 year, $6 million. Would be surprised if he's on the team February 10th. Tim Hardaway Jr., obviously, in that trade. Tobias Harris, 2 years, $52 million. Ron Holland, 5th overall. Like that. Bobby Klintman, 37th overall. Some people thought that was really good value there. Wendell Moore Jr. they traded for. Okay, a little upside swing. Paul Reed Jr. they got as well. Extended Cade Cunningham. Well-deserved. Well-deserved. Seriously, let's give a round of applause for Cade. Bring back Simone Fontecchio, 2 years, $16 million. That's a pretty good deal. So I think they got on the Grimes Tim Hardaway Jr. deal. Again, as I was mentioning earlier, like the Hornets were able to squeeze 3 second-round picks out of the Denver Nuggets for a $5 million player in Reggie Jackson. Now, that could just be Reggie Jackson's value is absolutely zero, where Tim Hardaway Jr. maybe had some juice, especially for a team like Detroit that desperately needs shooting. And they go out and they do get some. Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. They bring in Tobias Harris. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think they had a bad offseason at all. Tobias has to offset anything good they did? Oh, no. No. Why sign him for that much money? Because they needed to spend the money. They needed to spend the money. I mean, that's just really it. What up, Vlone? All right, so I'm executive decision. Now that we've sort of the board's sort of playing out and it's a little bit more even. I am putting the Nets in the move the needle tier. We'll make our own tier for stood pat, but that's fine. Where should that tier go? Should it go above we'll see? Or should it go below we'll see? I think it has to go above. And the reason I'm saying that is I think the Celtics had easily a better offseason than the Jazz. Tobias puts his agent in the win the offseason tier. I mean, that is true. But if you're a player like Tobias, you're smart. There are players out there who are smart. They leverage their situation. Hey, I'm a good player. Am I the best player? No. Am I worth maybe the money you're paying me? No. But you have to spend your money, and I'm willing to come to you. But you're going to have to pay me a little bit more than I would take elsewhere. That's fine. We all agree to this. That's totally cool. Where do we put the Pistons? I can't in good faith say stuck in place. Because they made moves, they addressed their shooting needs. I do like the Ron Holland pick. We'll put them at the end and we'll see, and then we'll add a stood pat here, and that will be the Celtics, Cavs, and I guess the Hornets. Am I really putting the Hornets that high? Here's the thing about the Hornets. Again, they did the deal with the Nuggets to get 3 second-round picks for Reggie Jackson. That's nice. Just fill out those coffers they got in on the Josh Green. Just got Josh Green. Brought back Miles Bridges. Like, I think they did pretty good, actually. All right, let's revisit this. What the fuck are they doing? Has 3 teams. Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers. Stuck in place. I feel okay about all of these. Might not be necessarily fair to the Raptors. Because I'm thinking about it now, like, what else were the Raptors going to do exactly? Are the Heat not bottom tier? Should the Heat be bottom tier? They're the one I would move. I agree. I think the Warriors... Oh, man. Heat, I think, go down. Yeah, I think moving the Heat down is fine. Is this harsh? Is this too harsh on the Warriors? This kind of feels a little bit too harsh on the Warriors, maybe. But then I think about it, and I'm like, they want to be better. They're obviously trying to be good, but are they better than a playing team? I don't think so. It doesn't really make sense to have the Rockets and Will C and not the Hornets. Because the Rockets didn't do anything but draft the 3rd overall pick who looks really good. Do I move the Rockets up to stood pat? This is the problem whenever we start to do tier lists. This is the problem. It gets so fucky. I don't know if the Raptors are second place. I agree. They're not. They're not. We need to do some maneuvering here. I think the Hornets stay there because I think they did pretty good, actually, for a rebuilding team. Drafted who they wanted. They got Josh Green, who's an interesting young player, for nothing. They got some picks to help the Nuggets out with the Reggie Jackson salary dump. Like, that's pretty good maneuvering. I think we move the Rockets up. What the fuck do we do with the... Raptors? The Raptors are actually one of the more difficult ones. The Raptors are one of the more difficult ones. I don't have a problem with the Warriors being here. The Bulls, the Hawks, the Wizards. The Bulls are we'll see. Seems like their offseason isn't over, and focusing on Kobe and Giddey is, I think, a really good thing. I agree, but the reason why I'm keeping them here is Zach LaVine, Vucevic are still hanging over that team. I think the DeMar sign and trade was not good on their part, and I think they could have probably gotten more out of the Thunder. So that's why I'm punishing them a tiny bit. How are the Spurs up so high? So I explained it when I talked about them, but my reasoning is, obviously they didn't make moves that position them to be like real legitimate contenders. But what they did do is built around their super duper megastar, their second year young super duper megastar that they're hoping to develop. They put really, really strong pieces older veteran players around him that make a ton of sense. Wizards drafted Bub. How are they stuck? Went with the Wizards in the stuck in place tier because SAR's disastrous summer league. That's what we came down to. SAR's disastrous summer league. We couldn't get it. We couldn't get the bad taste out of our mouth. I'm not going to lie to you. Right now, for me, the Pelicans are stuck in place until they find a center. Just stick there. Let's just stick there. This feels good. This feels good actually to me. This feels good to me, honestly. I think we finally reached a point. Because for me, the what the fuck are they doing feels obvious, stuck in place. Some of these teams made good moves, but they should have done more. And I'm left wanting more out of their offseason. I guess except the Raptors. But here's my excuse on the Raptors. I have no clue where to put you, so that's really it. We'll see. I do like your offseason, but there's some questions. The Detroit Pistons, hey, I actually like what you did. You moved kind of smart. The Timberwolves, I do like the idea of going out and getting Rob Dillingham. I like it. It makes sense, especially considering your cap situation, how immobile you're going to be moving forward in terms of making moves. If it pans out, it's a really good trade. If it doesn't pan out, though, which it very easily couldn't. Like, I don't think it's a very good offseason. So you're punishing the Wolves and Kings, etc., for making moves and taking chances. We'll see. You should be above standing pat. I'm just not convinced the Rob Dillingham move is like super good. I see it. I understand it. It makes sense, but that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think it's very good. Whereas like the Rockets drafting Reed Shepherd, great move. They didn't do anything else. They didn't need to do anything else. Good offseason. Like, that's fine. Charlotte Hornets, I mean, they really kind of stood pat, but they made really smart moves. Good maneuvering, good GMing. Cleveland Cavaliers, they bringing Donovan Mitchell back was a huge, massive win. That was hanging over them the entire season. That was a huge, massive win. The Jared Allen contract is really fine. The Celtics, bringing back everybody, considering you just won the NBA Finals. You just were one of the best teams of all time. Bringing back everybody, some of them on pretty cost-efficient contracts, that's really good. Whereas the Sacramento Kings, yes, they go out and get DeMar DeRozan. I think it's a risky move. There's a very real chance that shit does not work. Very real chance that shit does not work out. Bucks should be in. We'll see. But why though? Did the Bucks not get better? Like, look at who they lost and who they're replacing them with. Like, Gary Trent Jr. on a minimum contract is kind of nuts. I don't love the A.J. Johnson pick, though. I'll tell you what, the Nets should be higher than the Bucks, though, at the very least. I actually like it. I like it. And here, like, let's look at it like this. The Rockets, did they needed to make moves? No, not really. Fine. The Grizzlies. Well, they want to be good and competitive. we know they have a glaring need at center. We know how important Steven Adams was for them. Do they address it? Did they go out and get, there was discussions. There was talks that maybe they could be in on Hartenstein, or maybe they would try to trade for Jared Allen, or maybe they try to go get Nick Claxton. Like, those were all talks. And they just say, hey, we'll take Zach Edey 9th overall, and we hope it all plays out. It might not play out. Nets are high too. No, the Nets had a great offseason. I'm sorry. I can't. I guess they could have maybe done some more, but that Mikal Bridges return is just fucking nuts. I could be convinced the Bucks are, and we'll see. Actually, you guys have bullied me into it because I'm gonna be real. I don't necessarily even love Gary Trent Jr. like that. Does this feel a little bit more balanced? The Thunder won the offseason. You're not talking me out of that. The Sixers, I mean, for what they needed and where they were, they did great. I thought the Mavs did really good. The Knicks obviously did really good, but there's a lot of concerns. There's risk involved in everything the Knicks did. The Magic had a great offseason. And honestly, I guess I'll look at it like this. The Knicks dramatically improved their ceiling. Where did the Magic improve their ceiling? Meh. They got better. And there's not really no risk at all in what the Magic did. Pacers had a great offseason. Spurs, I'm not moving the Spurs off of this tier. I'm not doing it. I think they moved incredibly well this offseason. I think they moved incredibly well. Phoenix, I thought, did a really good job for where they were at. And I actually could be talked into the Suns being moved to Will C just because they still have defensive questions and center questions. But leaving the offseason with really no money at all to spend and bringing back Royce O'Neal and Okogie, which is really important for them, bringing in Budenholzer, bringing in, which I am factoring in, Ryan Dunn's a pretty interesting draft pick. And then on top of that, Monte Morris, Plumlee, Tyus Jones is pretty damn good. So the Celtics didn't really make any upgrades, but they did exactly what they needed to do as a team. Same with the Cavs. This is perfect. This is perfect. I'm happy with this. Thunder had the best offseason, but I think there has to be something for the team that beat you in 6 and won the West improving. Look, I'm not going to sit here and act like there's no risk to anything that happened this offseason for the Mavericks. There is. Okay? There is. If Clay is completely and totally washed, that stings. If Quentin Grimes is injured and just looks closer to what he did in Detroit than what he did for the Knicks 2 years ago, not really a player for you. Why are the Pacers so high? So I viewed it how I viewed the Mavericks re-signing Kyrie Irving last offseason, which was a huge win for the franchise, and them re-signing Pascal Siakam. So you kind of have to view Siakam as like a free agent signing. 4 years, $189 million. Bringing him back. The Nembhard contract I think is really good. Obi Toppin, I like that contract for him. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Hornets, Rockets need to be in Will C tier as their moves are draft picks. So, okay. It's just, everyone views it differently. For me, it's like, I'm viewing it from just the viewpoint of your team, what you needed to do. What was your main goal at the end of the offseason? for the Rockets? Like, was there maybe a superstar trade they would have liked to get in on? Maybe. Maybe. But you didn't make any crazy moves overreacting to anything. And they drafted a guy who in the summer league looked like the best player in the rookie class. Their needle moving move was bringing back Siakam. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm viewing that as basically a free agent move. The same way I did for Kyrie Irving. I guess maybe if you wanted to put him here, that's fine. But like I like their offseason more than the Suns' offseason. And of course the Mavs are all the way at the top after signing a washed Klay Thompson. Well, it's not all they did. They got off Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract and got Quentin Grimes. They brought in Najee Marshall. I don't know. This is a tough exercise. Was pretty surprising when we looked back on my one from last year. The Celtics one was a clear fucking oversight, obviously. But it ended up being pretty accurate. And the Lakers at 2, obviously, was a huge oversight as well. Mavs are primed with a ton of controllable contracts. Yeah, the Mavs had a good offseason for sure. For sure. All right, folks. That will do it. This will be fun to look back on. Any comments on your refusal to participate in the 2024 Paris Olympics? Did you feel that they would take too many gold medals from other countries? We need to know. Well, I did address this in my video yesterday, which you guys haven't watched. Go check out. I had a heel problem. I was on track to qualify for quite a few events, but had a heel problem that pretty much forced me to withdraw from the Olympics. Hopefully 2028 LA Olympics. We'll be back. I don't know if I'm going to stream the Team USA game tomorrow. It's early in the morning, isn't it? It's early in the morning, and I don't think there's much at stake here. Okay, 10:15 a.m. All right, we'll see. That'll be on playback.tv/slightlybiased if I do end up doing that, which I don't know. I probably will. And I am going to drop a video tomorrow, at least hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Sunday. My last hot takes video. This one will be Mavericks related. So all the people who very much annoy me anytime I do something non-Mavericks related that comment, where's the Mavericks stuff? Here you go. Any idea why Locked On Mavs wasn't on the last 2 nights? He's out of town. He's in Ohio. Everything you watched this week on Locked On was pre-recorded. Little inside baseball. All right, folks. Thank you all for coming out. All the OGs, guys, I love you very much. Could have spent your Friday afternoon anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys will not regret it. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps you out tremendously. It makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Love you all. Talk to you all later. Bye.